In the 1970s, the Concorde, the first supersonic commercial aircraft, achieved significant success in the aviation industry. However, it eventually failed due to high operational costs and environmental concerns. Now, a new small company called Boom Supersonic has emerged to revive supersonic travel and is set to disrupt the entire aviation industry. They have learned from the mistakes of the Concorde and have several aces up their sleeve to turn into a success, so stay tuned. Originally from Denver, but currently headquartered at the Centennial Airport in Dove, Colorado, Boom Technology Inc., or Boom Supersonic, is looking to revolutionize the way people fly. However, few people know about the main brain behind the company. Their CEO is Blake Scholl, while their CTO is Josh Kroll. And if you haven't heard of those names, don't worry. That's kind of the whole point. Shortly after its founding in 2014, Boom became a part of a startup incubation program by Y Combinator. As a startup, they relied heavily on venture capital. And while some of their biggest investors were Y Combinator, Seraph Group, 8 Partners, and many others, one man stood head and shoulders above the rest. Sam Altman, the man behind OpenAI and ChatGPT, is one of Boom's biggest investors. Also, Laurene Powell Jobs, the wife of the late Steve Jobs, with her Emerson Collective, is part of the investment round. If the man who is redesigning the internet believes this company is going to do amazing things, then there's got to be some truth to it, right? Well, it turns out it's true. 1 year after the investments, numerous venture funds like RRE Ventures, 8VC, Palm Drive Ventures, and many others invested $33 million into the company. That was in March. Just 1 month later, the company raised an additional $8 million, bringing the total financing up to $41 million by April 2017. With all of these major companies investing in Boom, the company got the attention of Japan Airlines, who plunged another $10 million into Boom Technologies Inc. At the end of 2017, the small startup secured venture capital equaling $51 million, and that was the major turning point. You see, at that point, the company could begin to challenge supersonic flight. They had the money to build the XB-1, aka Baby Boom, which was a scaled-down version or a demonstrator for their Overture supersonic airliner. Boom XB-1 was 1/3 the size of the Boom Overture. The 68-foot-long plane was powered by General Electric's 3 J85 engines. After several tests completed in 2022, the Boom XB-1 completed its first flight on March 22, 2024. 1 month later, on April 16, 2024, XB-1 received a special license from the FAA to begin test flights for Mach 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3 later this year. If everything goes according to plan, the XB-1 will have no problem reaching those marks because its top speed is set at Mach 2.2. After completing testing, Boom could finally start working on their full-scale aircraft. But before they could do all of this, the company had to continue raising venture capital. In a little over a year, by January 2019, Boom's venture capital rose by another $100 million, which allowed them to plan the demonstrator's first flight, which took place in 2019. At the start of 2022, Boom announced they will be building a 400,000 square feet, which is equivalent to about 37,000 square meter, manufacturing center located at Piedmont Triad International Airport, located in Greensboro, North Carolina. The company's founder stated, "With some of the country's best and brightest aviation talent, key suppliers, and the state of North Carolina's continued support, Boom is confident that Greensboro will emerge as the world's supersonic manufacturing hub." After completing the construction of their factory in 2024, they plan to begin building the first 35 orders that came from Japan Airlines, United Airlines, and American Airlines for Overture jets. Although supersonic flight might sound like something new, it's not. Air France and British Airways flew 7 Concorde aircraft at speeds of up to Mach 2.2. The plane was finally retired in 2003 after 27 years of service. Boom Overture, on the other hand, is brand new. They're planning to redefine supersonic travel with a range of 4,500 nautical miles at a speed of Mach 1.7. This means a flight from London to New York would only be 3.5 hours. And while a trans-Pacific trip, like the one from San Francisco to Tokyo, would only last 6 hours. These two are only a small part of the possible 500 routes that Boom's 1,000 Overtures will connect. Depending on the interior configuration, the plane will be capable of carrying between 64 and 80 passengers. While the initial design for the jet was intended to be a tri-jet, they later had a major change and went for a quad jet. They made the design change to lower the noise of the Boom Overture and were inspired by the look of the Boeing B-2707-300, a Boeing supersonic design that was introduced in the 70s but later got canceled. Overture will feature a delta wing, just like the Concorde and the Boeing B-2707. However, unlike both of these predecessors, it will be made from composite materials to reduce the weight. Speaking of which, the aircraft will have a max takeoff weight of 77 tons and a wingspan of 60 feet, or around 18 meters. The plane will be 201 feet long, about 61 meters, and it will be powered by 4 Boom Symphony medium bypass turbofan engines at the back, each producing 35,000 pounds of thrust. Speaking of engines, Boom Technologies considered using an engine developed by either Rolls-Royce, General Electric, or Pratt & Whitney, but in December 2022, they announced that they would build their personal turbofan to power Overture. The engines would use only sustainable aviation fuel only. If you're wondering about price, Boom Technologies is aiming at a price tag of around $5,000 for a round trip, business class ticket from London to New York. That rate is comparable to many subsonic flights available today. Boom! Supersonic has already taken orders for 15 aircraft from United Airlines, with the option to buy 35 more, 20 from American, with the option to buy 40 more, and 20 options from Japan Airlines. The United States Air Force even said they'd be interested in acquiring Overture aircraft to serve as Air Force One for future U.S. presidents. At a price of $200 million per aircraft, excluding options and interior, the value of these 35 orders is $7 billion, which means the company is working with a lot of cash to build these airplanes. Now the question becomes, can they actually pull it off? Forbes said that $151 million in venture capital is impressive, but that's nothing compared to the billions upon billions of dollars it would take to build their first supersonic airliner. That being said, with $7 billion in orders, it seems like Boom will bridge that gap easily. While they're not the only ones looking to introduce supersonic flight, their 2 competitors are not in the same field. Ariane and Spike are looking to build supersonic business jets for the wealthy elites. Meanwhile, Boom Supersonic is looking to offer a 64-seater supersonic aircraft to major airlines. The company aims to remove the business class from traditional airliners and introduce it on their Boom Overture, which would bring passengers to their destinations, traveling at 1.7 times the speed of sound, and they plan to do that at the same or a cheaper price tag. Now you might be thinking, so what? Concorde began offering transcontinental flights at supersonic speeds in 1976, and 27 years later, all 20 aircraft were retired. Why should Overture be different? Well, first of all, according to Air Data News, Overture will have a range of 4,500 nautical miles, whereas Concorde has a range of only 3,900 nautical miles. Sure, Concorde was faster, reaching Mach 2.1 or 1,535 miles per hour, but the Overture's slower speed of Mach 1.7 could actually be helpful. One of the main reasons Concorde was operated by only 2 airlines, Air France and British Airways, is because of the noise. It couldn't be used for short haul because breaking the sound barrier is very loud. Overture, on the other hand, is 30 times quieter, allowing it to be flown to 500 different routes. On top of that, Overture has 40 years of research and data. Concorde was a plane designed in the 70s. Overture is new and can take advantage of all technological advancements that have come in aviation since then. Not to mention, the plane will fly with less fuel, relying 100% on sustainable aviation fuels, which is a game changer in the industry. The company is also planning to become net zero by 2050. All of these pros put Boom in a good position for aviation industry dominance if they play their cards right and learn from their failed predecessors. Don't forget to like and subscribe.